about second breakfast.
Time for second breakfast.
What's up, everybody? Monster from Breakdowns for Breakfast here with another second breakfast. I have not done one of my Monster Goes Sees Monster concert review kind of videos in a long time because I haven't been to a lot of shows. A lot of tours have been announced that look interesting. My daughter, who is 7, is begging to go to another show, and of course, we'll try to do that this summer. A lot of tours have been announced that look really cool. There's one coming to North Myrtle Beach at the House of Blues, which we actually, my wife's dad lives down there, so that's not out of the realm of possibility. But it's Bloodywood with the Pretty Wild, which both me and my 7-year-old would love. So that's a maybe. They haven't announced it exactly yet, but they're teasing that 311 and Dirty Heads will go on tour this summer. They've toured together before. That would be a fun show. Definitely a good summertime kind of show. Me personally, I'm sort of getting over the outdoor show in the middle of summer. I've been burned too many times by the weather that I'm kind of over it now. I get the appeal when the weather is nice. It is great. But I've had so many concerts just like ruined for me because the weather will not cooperate. So those are a couple that I was thinking about maybe going to. Now, I haven't been to any shows recently, but I did play a show recently, and that's something I haven't done in a couple of years. So I thought, why not recount a little bit of that? Because it was actually kind of a cool venue and a cool experience. Just kind of because, I've been out of the loop for a couple years, and this was my first show back. So for most of the people that listen to this are, somewhat familiar with me and Danger in our personal lives. I know there's a handful of people out there that just know us from the podcast, and we sincerely thank you for listening and, kind of being part of our community. But I play in a band called Deepest Red, and we are sort of a punk metal kind of thing, very aggressive, real fast, kind of stuff. Rock music, there is screaming, but there's also a lot of singing and melody and hooks. It's fun. I always make the joke that I never want to play in the same band twice. So I like to, surround myself with different musicians and trying, it might be a rock band or a nu metal band or a punk band, but, just little variations on those things. Well, in this particular case, I'm playing with a drummer that I used to play in a couple bands with way back in the day, like when we were in our late teens and early 20s. And then the lead singer is a guy that I was in a band with about 10 years ago, and we're actually doing a couple of the songs from that band. So maybe I kind of went back on that no same band twice rule here, but I've known a lot of these guys for years and years and years. They're my real good friends. So when they asked me to join, it was kind of like, yeah, this could be fun. Obviously, I've got so many priorities with family and work, and then obviously the podcast that, it can be a little bit stressful. So anyway, we had been practicing for a few weeks, and once we felt comfortable, we sort of threw it out there that, we would start booking some shows. And we got a couple of offers pretty quick, just from some friends that knew us and everything. And this particular show was at a place called the Back Table, which is in Greensboro. It's kind of near downtown. If you're familiar with Greensboro, it's like right on the outskirt of downtown. And it's a really neat place because it's more than just a music venue. Like it's a coffee shop, music venue, thrift store, art gallery. Like it's this really cool, like communal vibe, which, for a metal punk band, I was a little unsure if this would be like a good fit or not. I believe our lead singer's girlfriend, she does a lot with this venue. I don't know if she helps run the thrift store. She's just, helps with it some. But so, we were welcomed. Everybody seemed to know everybody. A lot of my friends and family came. I had some friends I hadn't seen in, gosh, close to 20 years that just happened to pop up. And it was real nice to see some of them and reconnect. So on all that part, it was a lot of fun. It was a weird lineup because obviously, like I said, and by the way, if you want to check us out, we're on Spotify, YouTube, all the usual places. Got a couple music videos but before me and my buddy Ben on drums joined. But you get the idea. We're playing all those songs. And some of the openers, I don't remember all of them. The two that I remember most specifically was, so the whole thing is put on by this guy named Tom Troyer. And he played guitar and sang a few songs. Singer-songwriter, James Taylor kind of vibes. Great voice, good, fun songs. And he sort of played in between sets to kind of, keep some music going in between bands and stuff. But the two bands that I remember most distinctly were Les Smoking, which was one girl and one guy. And basically they played covers of some older songs, but they did it in sort of like a 60s hippie psychedelic kind of way. They looked like they just walked off the set of Austin Powers. It was cool. The girl sang. She had a really good voice. The guy also played I don't know what they're called. It's the accordion that you set on the table. It's a squeeze box kind of thing. But it was fun. It was really cool. And then again, like I said, I'm like, oh God, man, there's acoustic guitars and all this stuff. Like, I'm starting to get a little like, are we gonna, blow the windows out of this place and piss everybody off, ruin their like chill time? But there was one band before us called Saltman. Now, our bass player knew this band and asked them to come and play, and I had never heard them before. And they described their genre of music as power violence. Now, just like I did on that Sasscore episode, I don't know every genre in the world, and power violence doesn't sound like something I would probably really enjoy. So I was a little bit like, what is this going to be? It did make me feel a little bit better thinking like, well, okay, we're probably not going to be the heaviest thing here tonight, so this should be okay. Well, they start playing, and I actually kind of dug it. Like, it's sort of like hardcore. It's not a 1-for-1, but they had a female vocalist, so I got a little bit of I Wrestled a Bear Once kind of from it. They actually didn't have a guitar player. They had two bass players playing through guitar rigs. So, yeah, it's kind of noisy. It's kind of, I don't know. It's like super distorted and just screaming and just full blast the whole time. But it's kind of cool. Like, I mean, the crowd was pretty into it. I saw some hardcore dancing. And, it was like, all right, that's cool. So anyway, finally it's our turn. Our bass player, Aaron, is a genius when it comes to like audio engineering and all that kind of stuff. And so he has basically our entire setup in one little rack that he pulls out and we plug into, dials up. We don't have amps on stage, I'm an old head. I'm old school. I'm used to having my cab and my, all that kind of stuff. And this completely negates all that. You don't have to worry about any of it. Part of me digs it. Part of me kind of misses the old way of doing things. But as a 40-year-old man, I do appreciate not having to try to carry around a half stack anymore. That's my neck and back and knees are not made for that. And speaking of which, so when we start playing, I've made mention on the show before. People that have seen my bands play before, they know I like to be very energetic on stage. I like to run around, jump around. This stage was kind of an odd setup. I didn't really have anywhere to really go, which is fine because I didn't want to go anywhere because this was my first show with these guys. Yes, we had some practices. For people that don't know, here in North Carolina, this show was also in like early to mid February. I don't remember the exact date, but it was, we had some snow and stuff around this time, so we actually did not get quite as many practices as we planned on. We were planning on getting one or two more in, like right before the show, that we didn't get. So, needless to say, I was trying to focus a little bit more on, you know, what I was supposed to be playing, and I'm not super psyched about how well I performed. It could have been a lot better in a lot of ways, but it was still fun, and it sort of, I don't know, it was weird because it didn't necessarily like reignite my passion for playing live shows, but it was like, oh yeah, this is like a fun thing that I miss doing. The one thing I don't miss, and this is not anybody's fault, it's just the way these things work, we were the last band to play. So, but they asked us to get there, you know, before the show starts, because they don't, you know, a lot of venues want you to do that because you're not lugging around equipment or whatever. So the show starts at 7-ish. We get there around 5:36-ish, and we don't play till 10:15-ish. So it's like, that's a lot of hours of just sitting around doing ish, like, you know, and being the kind of guy that I am with kids and family and stuff. It's sort of hard to just sit there and twiddle my thumbs and wait. The nice thing about this show, though, was my brother, friend of the show, Brian, and his wife Amy, they were there. Also my dad came, which is always cool when he comes and hangs out. And then, like I said, a lot of friends that I hadn't seen in a long time were also there, which was very cool. As far as the actual performance goes, like I said, I was a little more focused on actually playing than running around, but we did have a fun little moment where me and the bass player chased each other around the stage for a couple minutes, so, you know, have to do something a little silly. This was the kind of show, too, where the stage was about 4 inches off the ground, so it wasn't really like a stage. You were sort of like right in front of the people, and yes, there was a decent sized crowd. It was a small little place, you know, but there was a handful of people in there, and they seemed to be enjoying it, but nobody's jumping up and down and shoving each other or anything. So, you know, we're mostly focused on just trying to play the songs. Our first show together, you know, it was kind of fun. So, like I said, I like to give you guys sort of my take on concerts that I go to, and it's just been a few months. I haven't gone to see anything. Don't have tickets for anything right this minute, actually. Hopefully we will soon. We're trying to be a little bit more responsible with our finances, so, you know, the concerts might be a little bit fewer this year, but we're gonna go to a few things. It's just our nature. We like to go see shows and live music, so we will go see some stuff. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to, you know, reminisce for a second about my old ass getting back out there and playing a little bit. I know I've talked about my bands in the past. Just figured I'd throw this one out there if you want to check it out. Like I said, we're called Deepest Red. You can find us on Spotify and YouTube and all the usual places. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see me post about the band whenever we have shows and stuff coming up. I know we're going to work on a new music video pretty soon. These things, I record these things so far in advance that by the time this comes out, we might already have a new music video. We might already have some new shows booked. But yeah, if you want to check us out, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Deepest Red. I think it might be Deepest Red NC, because we're from North Carolina. But yeah, just figured I would rant and go on and on about that for a few minutes. So anyway, thanks for listening. I hope you have a great day.